Hello friends, welcome back to all about structural analysis and design. So in this today's problem, it was a special request from my member of the channel, that is Rakshit Venkatesh from Mysore. He had requested me to do video on the topic of limit state of serviceability problems, wherein you will be learning how to calculate the deflection due to short-term and long-term deflections, then shrinkage deflection, and also due to creep deflection. So we are finding out today the different type of deflections for a cantilever beam as per your IS 456 codal provisions. So once again I want to request you to look on to the membership feature of our channel all about structural analysis and design, which we have started from 1st January. So there are 4 levels. So if you are interested, you can become a member of any level: level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Different benefits are there for these levels if you join. And once you join, you are requested to send a mail at avbikeriker@gmail.com, which I will give in the description box also, because it becomes very easier to send you the benefits of the different levels. So with these words, let's start with today's problem. So the problem given is a cantilever beam of 3.5 meter span is 300 mm wide and 600 mm deep. Okay, so it is subjected to a maximum bending moment of 125 kilonewton meter due to uniformly distributed service loads, out of which 50% moment is due to permanent loads. The beam is reinforced with 4 bars of 20 mm phi at an effective cover of 50 mm. Check the beam for deflection using M20 and Fe415 materials. So this is the problem given. So with this given data, we have to find out the different deflections, okay, using these materials and as per IS 456 codal provision. So the regular first step is to write down the given data. So one by one we'll write down what is given in this problem. Okay, so the length of the beam is 3.5 meters. So L is equals to 3.5 meters, which we can write down as 3500 mm. Okay, and it is 300 mm wide, so it means B is equals to 300 mm and 600 mm deep. So D, capital D, is 600 mm, and it is subjected to a maximum bending moment of 125 kilonewton meter. So we'll write down here MC, because one more M we are using for modular ratio in the next coming steps. So we'll mention this bending moment as MC. C is nothing but your critical moment or maximum moment. Okay, so MC given is 125 kilonewton meter, which we can write 125 into 10 raised to 6 Newton millimeters, due to uniformly distributed service loads, out of which 50% moment is due to permanent loads. So what it is meant as, this you are going to use when you are finding out the long-term deflection using permanent loads. So we'll mention this as MC dash. Okay, it is 50% of 125. So it is nothing but 62.5 kilonewton meter, which is nothing but 62.5 into 10 raised to 6 Newton millimeter. So like this way you have to find out this permanent load moment. Okay, remember here this load is not given, directly moment is given. When the load is given, that also will solve one problem by taking this slab problem in the next coming videos. Then the beam is reinforced with 4 bars of 20 mm phi. So from this you can find out the AST. AST is 4 into pi by 4 d square, that is 20 mm. So it comes out to be 1256.64 mm square. So this is the AST given, and it has a effective cover of 50 mm. So it is nothing but D dash is equals to 50 mm. Then check the beam for deflection using M20 and Fe415 materials. So FCK is 20 Newton per mm square and Fy is equals to 415 Newton per mm square. So these are the given data. So deflection, again various, this one, 4 types of deflection we are going to find out. Short-term deflection, long-term deflection, then deflection due to shrinkage and deflection due to creep. So we'll be finding all these 4 and we will be adding and we will be getting the total deflection. So I will explain you one by one which are the different types of deflection. Okay. So now total deflection is the sum of total deflection is the sum of short-term and long-term deflections. This you have to remember. There are short-term deflections as well as long-term deflections, and when you add all the things you will be getting the total deflection for that particular beam or slab. So one by one we will see which type of deflections we will be finding out. So total deflection we are denoting as total deflection, we will denote it as A gamma. Okay, so these notations are from your IS 456 2000. Okay, different notations I have not used, otherwise again confusion will happen, so that's why we'll maintain the same notations. Okay, so A gamma is equals to AI plus ALT. So AI is nothing but your short-term deflection and LT is nothing but long-term deflection. Okay, in long-term deflection again there are various types of deflections. So we'll see what are those. So A gamma equal to AI. So this is only one type. So in bracket I will write down the different types of deflection. So ACS plus ACC permanent. Okay, then ATP. So these are the various types of long-term deflections. So we'll see one by one what is meant by these. So A gamma is nothing but your total deflection. Once again I will not write. Then AI is short-term or in immediate deflection. Okay. So this I symbol is taken from this immediate deflection. It is known as short term or immediate deflection. Then ALT, which is this one, it is long term deflection. Long term deflection. Next in this, the first one ACS is your deflection due to shrinkage. Then ACC permanent is your deflection due to creep. Deflection due to creep, which is very important again for the long-term calculations under permanent loads. Okay. So that's why this term was given 50% of the permanent loads, right? So under permanent loads. Then ATP, the last one. It is nothing but deflection due to temperature. Okay, so these are the various terms we will be using and we will be calculating the total deflection. Once again I will repeat, A gamma is nothing but total deflection, AI short-term deflection, ALT long-term deflection. In long-term deflection there are again 3 types: deflection due to shrinkage, deflection due to creep due to permanent loads, and ATP is nothing but deflection due to temperature. In our present case we are finding out AI ACS, ACC permanent. Okay, because ATP, nothing about deflection due to temperature they have asked. If it is asked, you have to add these deflections. Okay, so one by one we'll find out. So this video might get longer, but watch it completely and get thorough with the how to calculate the deflections due to various long-term, short-term deflections. Okay, so let us begin with the actual problem. Now, short-term deflection. And some formulas you will be finding in IS 456 2000, and some formulas you have to remember for different cases. Different cases in the sense, for cantilever with UDL, cantilever with point load, cantilever with simply supported with point load, simply supported with UDL. So these are the various again conditions. For that you have to remember the formulas. I will show you the formulas for different conditions, and with respect to the given condition you can solve the problems. Okay, so now we'll find out the short-term deflection, that is nothing but AI, and AI is given as Km, then MC L square EC I effective. So this is the formula given. So the different cases formula I will show you. So these are the different cases for the formulas. Okay, so this AI is given as Km LC L square MC L square EC by IEF. If load is given, then you have to find out the moment and then you have to substitute like this. And these are the various conditions. So this beam is cantilever having UDL. So Km, the coefficient is given as 1 by 4. MC is WL square by 2, as you know. Then for simply supported beam case, Km is 5 by 48 and M is WL square by 8. So these are the various conditions. As for the academic purpose, you will be having the mostly the cantilever and simply supported beam having UDL or having point load. If it is point load, then the Km given is 1 by 12, and if it is cantilever having point load, it is 1 by 3. So in our case, it is cantilever having UDL, that is Km will be using as 1 divided by 4, and MC, your moment, is WL square by 2. So this is the case we'll be using, and the various terms they have given is if W is given, then that is the total load. MC is nothing but maximum moment or critical moment, which is given in the problem. Km is constants, then AI is short-term deflection, and IEFF is effective moment of inertia. The formula is given in IS 456 2000. Then EC is modulus of elasticity of concrete, which is calculated through 5000 root of FCK, which is again given on page number 16 of IS 456 2000. So like this way you have to find out the short-term deflection. We'll write down here now for cantilever Km is equals to 1 divided by 4. Now you have to calculate 1 by 1. So the easiest is in this problem is EC. EC is nothing but elasticity of concrete, modulus elasticity of concrete. It is given as 5000 root of FCK. So 5000 root of FCK is 20. So EC comes out to be 22360 Newton per mm square. So this is your EC, modulus of elasticity. Then I'll show you the formula to find out IEFF, which is there on page number 88. So which is there on page number 88 of IS 456 2000. So here the formula is given. Effective moment of inertia is given as IR divided by 1.2 minus MR by M. M is nothing but MC we have taken, Z by D, 1 minus X by D, BW by B. And you have to remember that IR should be less than or equal to effective moment of inertia. It should be less than or equal to IGR. IGR is nothing but ignoring the reinforcement. Okay, and IR is nothing but your moment of inertia for cracked section. So the formula I will be just giving you to solve the problem. Then formulas are not available for this IR and IGR, you have to remember. Okay, So here the notations, they have given the explanations again. Moment of inertia for cracked section. Then MR is cracking moment, which is equal to FCR IGR by YT. FCR we are going to find out from the IS 456 2000. IGR is your simple moment of inertia ignoring your reinforcement. Then YT is given here is the distance from centroidal axis of cross section neglecting the reinforcement to extreme fiber in tension. So it is nothing but you have to divide by 2 your entire the depth. Then M is maximum moment, Z is lever arm, again we have to remember that formula. X is again your neutral axis depth, D is effective depth, BW is breadth of web if it is T section, and B is breadth of compression face. So these are the notations used for this particular equation. So if you see this equation, we have to find out first MR, and for MR we require FCR, IGR and YT. So we'll remove those things one by one. So IGR is nothing but moment of inertia ignoring reinforcement. Okay, so it is nothing but your simple rectangular section BD cube by 12. So this is your normal formula from your strength of materials or engineering mechanics basics. So B given is 300, total depth given is 600, cube divided by 12. So IGR works out to be 5.4 into 10 raised to 9 mm raised to 4. So this is your moment of inertia ignoring reinforcement. Then again one thing was required, that is FCR. So if you don't know the FCR value, you can go to page number 16. The formula is given of IS 456 2000. Okay, FCR is nothing but your tensile strength of concrete. So FCR is equals to 0.7 root of FCK. How you find out the moment of modulus of elasticity for concrete, that is EC, that is 5000 root of FCK. So this formula if you forgot, then it is again available on page number 16, modulus of elasticity of concrete, which we require. And this flexural strength FCR is also there on page number 16 of IS 456 2000. So from here you can take the formulas and you can calculate. So here it is 0.7 root of FCK. So FCR is equals to 0.7 root of FCK, which is there on page 16 IS 456. So these are the formulas you have to remember, because when you go for the competitive examinations or if you go for any interviews, so these are the common question from the RCC chapter. What is the modulus of elasticity for the given grade of concrete? Then you have to remember this formula for solving instant in your examinations. So these two formulas you can remember for your preparations for your competitive examinations. Okay, then we'll calculate this 0.7 root of 20. So it gives the value 3.13 Newton per mm square. So this is the flexural strength, this is the MI ignoring reinforcement. Then from page number 88, just now we have seen from page 88 IS 456 MR, that is a cracking moment, is given as FCR IGR divided by YT. Okay, just now I have shown you page number 88. So FCR is 3.13, IGR is 5.4 into 10 raised to 9 divided by YT. YT is nothing but your total depth is 600, so you have to divide it by 2. The centroidal axis you have to see, it is a rectangular section. Okay, so it is 600 divided by 2. So MR works out to be 56.34 into 10 raised to 6 Newton millimeter. So this value is very important in your further calculations. It is nothing but your cracking moment. Okay, so this is how you have to calculate MR. Then once you calculate the cracking moment, next step is to calculate the neutral axis depth. Okay, so now neutral axis depth. So this formula you have to remember again. Okay, taking moment of effective area about neutral axis. About your neutral axis. So this is a little bit confusing to remember. Okay, so that's why I will show you the picture. Okay, so this is how it comes out here. So this is cracked section, equivalent section. So this is for singly reinforced section and it is for doubly reinforced section. So for singly reinforced section, what happens is bx into x by 2, that is nothing but b into x. Again you want the centered distance, that is x by 2. So bx square by 2 is equals to this MAST, okay, equivalent section of that singly reinforced beam, MAST into d minus x. So this you have to multiply MAST into d minus x, where this M is equals to modular ratio ES by EC. Okay, ES is nothing but the modulus of elasticity for steel, and this is modulus of elasticity for concrete. So we'll calculate those things. And IR, okay, which is nothing but moment of inertia of cracked section. It is given as bx cube by 3 plus MAST d minus x square. If you remember this formula for neutral axis, okay, so it is very easy to remember for this IR also. So just you have to multiply 1x here, and also here you have to multiply with the 1 d minus x, so it becomes square. So we'll calculate now. And if remember that if the section is given as doubly reinforced section, then neutral axis depth is given as bx square by 2 plus m minus 1 ASC x minus dc is equals to MAST d minus x. Same way what we have done for singly reinforced beam, same way you have to do, but only thing is ASC will be involved here. So b into x square divided by 2, that again remains same, plus m minus 1 ASC x minus dc, this you have to deduct. Then MAST again with this tension reinforcement d minus x. So then IR also, it becomes so very simple to remember. Same here, again you have to multiply with the x here, bx cube by 3 it will happen, plus m minus 1 ASC x minus dc the whole square, plus MAST d minus x the whole square. So these are the things you have to remember for singly and doubly reinforced section. So these formulas somehow you have to remember because it is not available in your IS 456 2000, but how it comes I have explained here. Then taking moment of effective area about neutral axis, just we have seen. So this formula is bx into x by 2 is equals to m AST d minus x. So this m we have to differentiate, that's why I have not taken m as moment, so we have denoted it as MC. Okay, so m is nothing but modular ratio. So we'll calculate here. M is equals to ES by EC, which is nothing but modular ratio. So I assume that you know all the basics of RCC, what is modular ratio and all. Okay, so M is equals to ES, for steel it is 2 into 10 raised to 5. EC just we have calculated 22360, so it comes out to be 8.94. okay, small m. So this is again very important while substituting in the formulas. Now we will calculate the neutral axis depth, that is x. Now b is 300, it was given, x square is unknown, bx square by 2 is equals to m 8.94. AST we have calculated in the initial stage 1256.64. Then d, still we have not calculated the effective depth. Okay, the overall depth was given as 600. Okay, then effective cover, sorry, it was given 50 mm. Therefore effective depth is equals to 600 minus 50, 550 mm. So this 550 again is very important while substituting in all the formulas. So this 550 here minus x. So this again you can cancel. So 150 x square. So this you have to multiply 8.94 into 1256.64 into 550, which comes out to be 6178898.88 minus 8.94 into 1256.64 into x, which comes out to be 1123. So this is minus 11234 into 36x. So this entire equation you have to divide by 150. So then you will be getting this x square. Okay, and this will come to this side and it becomes positive, and after dividing by 150 it becomes 74.89x, and this will go this side and it will become minus 41193 equals to 0. And you have to solve this equation. It is quadratic equation in your calculator, and you will be getting the x value, the neutral axis depth value, as 168.94 mm. Then you have to calculate the lever arm. Now lever arm, which is nothing but denoted as a z. So z is equals to d minus x by 3 by elastic theory. Okay, so this again I assume you know what is a lever arm and all, because it is very basic in RCC. Okay, therefore z is equals to d is 550 minus x we have calculated now, that is 168.94 divided by 3. Therefore z you will be getting as 493.7 mm. So this is your lever arm. So now next step is to calculate the moment of inertia for the cracked section, that is IR. Okay, so this IR formula also I have shown you now. So that is bx cube by 3 plus modular ratio AST d minus x the whole square. So now everything is available, you can just substitute here. So IR is equals to P is 300, x you have just now got that it is 168.94 cube divided by 3 plus modular ratio is 8.94. Okay, then AST is 1256.64, d is 550 minus x 168.94 the whole square. So once you worked out this on your calculator, you will be getting this as 2.113 into 10 raised to 9 mm raised to 4. Okay, so this is your IR value. Now you have to go to page number 88. Now from page 88. Okay, once again I will show you this. I have shown you. So once again we will see the formula here from page number 88. So effective moment of inertia IEFF we are going to find out. Now IR we have calculated, MR we have calculated, M is already given, Z we have calculated, X we have calculated. Okay, this is not a flanged section, so that's why this BW will be 1, means same we are going to take as B, so it will become 1. 300 by 300 it will become 1. Okay, and also you have to remember that IR should always be less than or equal to IEFF, should also be less than or equal to IGR. So when this condition satisfies, you can proceed with the problem. So from page number 88, I effective is equals to IR divided by 1.2 minus MR by MC, I will be writing here, then Z by D, 1 minus X by D, BW by B. Now you have to substitute all the things and you have to get the IEFF. So IEFF is equals to IR we have got 2.113 into 10 raised to 9 divided by 1.2 minus cracking moment we have got 56.34 into 10 raised to 6. Okay, and MC given moment was 125 into 10 raised to 6 Newton millimeters. Then Z is 493.7, Z by D, that is 550, into bracket 1 minus X by D, X is 168.94, okay, divided by again D, that is 550. So it is not a flanged and webbed section, that's why BW by B is 1. So once you put this in your calculator, you will be getting 2.29 into 10 raised to 9 mm raised to 4. So hence our IR is less than IEFF is less than IGR. So it satisfies all the things. So we can proceed with the problem. Therefore, okay. Now you can easily find out the short-term deflections, that is AI, which we have written in the initial stage. AI is equals to MC L square divided by 4 EC IEFF. So Km I have substituted, don't again get confused what I have written here. Okay, here it was Km for cantilever case it is 1 by 4, so that's why I have written here divided by 4. Okay, so we can substitute here. MC is 125 into 10 raised to 6, L is 3.5, that is 3500 mm, this one square, 4, that is 1 by 4 Km value, constant value. Then EC is 22360 into IEFF, just now we calculated, that is 2.29 into 10 raised to 9. So now once you work out this, you will be getting the short term deflection as 7.47 mm. So this is the first unknown we have find out in the problem, that is short term deflection, that is 7.47 mm. Now you have to proceed with the deflection due to shrinkage. The one good news is that formula is readily available in your IS 456 2000, that too again on page number 88. Okay, now deflection due to shrinkage. Deflection due to shrinkage, page number 88, IS 456 2000. So I'll show you where is that formula. Okay, when you go for page number 88, so here they have given clearly deflection due to shrinkage, and it is calculated with the formula ACS is equals to K3 psi CS L square. K3 is a constant again for the given support conditions. If it is cantilever, you have to take it as 0.5. If it is simply supported, you have to take it as 0.125. If it is continuous members, 0.086. Fully continuous members, 0.063. Again, psi CS also you have to calculate with this equation, K4 epsilon CS by D, where epsilon CS is the ultimate shrinkage strain of concrete, which is given again on page number 16 of IS 456 2000. K4 again you have to calculate, you have to see and you have to calculate based on PT minus PC value. So if it is less than 1, you can go with this equation. If it is greater than 1, you can go with this equation. So one by one we will calculate and we will see. So from page number 88 we have mentioned here. So ACS, which is the notation for the deflection due to shrinkage, it is K3 psi CS L square. Okay, so we'll calculate now this K3 again here. It is given as 0.5 because for cantilever condition. Okay, then psi CS will calculate now. So psi CS is equals to K4 epsilon CS divided by T. So K4 again formula is given. So for that you have to find out the percentage of tension reinforcement, that is PT, which is given by AST by BD into 100. So AST is 1256.64 then B is 300, D is 550 into 100. So this percentage of tension reinforcement you will be getting as 0.7616%, and it is singly reinforced section, so this PC will be 0. Okay, this you have to remember. Now PT minus PC, if you do, you will be getting 0.7616, which is less than 1. Therefore first formula you have to use. Therefore K4 is equals to 0.72 PT minus PC divided by root of PT. Okay, so this formula again I have shown in page number 88. So 0.72, then PT is PT minus PC is 0.7616, therefore root of 0.7616. So K4 you will be getting here is equals to 0.628, which is less than 1. Therefore okay. And this epsilon CS from page number 16, I will show you. Most of the times it will be given in your problem itself. If it is not given in your problem, then you have to go for this page number 16, and they have given, in the absence of test data, the approximate value of the total shrinkage strain for design may be taken as 0.0003. So it is given on page number 16. So this you have to refer. So now it is not given in our problem, so we'll write down. Okay, therefore epsilon CS is equals to 0.0003. Therefore psi CS is equals to K4 we have calculated now, that is 0.628 into 0.0003 divided by D, which is 600. Okay, that is capital D, that is 600, and your psi CS value you will be getting as 3.14 into 10 raised to minus 7. So this is how you have to calculate psi CS. ACS is equals to K3 psi CS L square. So K3 is 0.5 for cantilever case. Psi CS we have calculated, that is 3.14 into 10 raised to minus 7. L is 3500 square. So ACS you will be getting as 1.923 mm. So this is the deflection due to shrinkage. So now two types of calculations we have done. So now the last one is the calculation due to creep deflection under permanent loads. So again you have to repeat all the steps, because here again there are again two types of calculations. So whatever you have done till now you have to calculate once again, because you have to calculate modular ratio once again. If modular ratio changes, all the things little bit changes. Okay, so now deflection due to creep. Deflection due to creep under permanent load. Permanent loads. So don't worry, the formula is given in again page number 89 this time, from page number 89. So I will show you the formula. So this is your page number 89. So deflection due to creep. So they have mentioned here the creep deflection due to permanent loads ACC permanent may be obtained from the following equation. So you have to find out ACC permanent is equals to AICC permanent minus AI permanent. So where AICC permanent is nothing but initial plus creep deflection due to permanent loads obtained using an elastic analysis with an effective modulus of elasticity. So we had calculated modulus of elasticity of concrete. Now you have to find out effective modulus of elasticity, which is given by EC. Again you have to take the help of modulus of elasticity of concrete, divided by 1 plus theta, where theta being the creep coefficient, and you will be getting again from page number 16 this creep coefficient depending upon age of loading. AI permanent is equals to short term deflection due to permanent load using EC. So these are the things you have to find out again, and you have to find out deflection due to creep. Okay, so same notations I will be using here. So from page number 89, ACC permanent, okay, is equals to AI plus CC permanent minus AI permanent. Okay, so now we will proceed with the creep coefficient and all. Okay, so from page number 16, if in problem this creep coefficient is not given, then you have to refer this page number 16 to find out the creep coefficient depending upon age of loading. So here it is given. This is your page number 16 of IS 456 2000. So age of loading 7 days it is 2.2, 28 days it is 1.6, 1 year it is 1.1. So for the problem purpose we are going to take it as 28 days creep coefficient, that is 1.6. So from page number 16, assuming age of concrete as 28 days, therefore theta creep coefficient is 1.6. Therefore effective modulus of elasticity ECE is equals to EC divided by 1 plus theta. Same page number 89. Okay, now you have to substitute. EC is 22360 divided by 1 plus 1.6. So ECE you will be getting 8600 Newton per mm square. So once you calculate this, again you have to calculate the modular ratio. Then modular ratio changes. Now M is equals to ES by effective modulus of elasticity of concrete. So this again remains same for steel, 2 into 10 raised to 5. This ECE now becomes 8600. So M is equals to 23.25. So this is the new modular ratio you are going to use now. Now let us calculate again X, Z, everything. So I'll write here. So let us calculate again. X, Z, IR and I effective. Okay, for new value of M. Formula remains same, nothing changes. Okay, you have to use the same formula to find out neutral axis depth. So we'll find out first X. So the formula is bx square by 2 is equals to MAST d minus x. B remains same, 300 x square by 2. M is 23.25. AST remains same, 1256.64. D is 550 minus x. So this again cancels here, so it becomes 150 x square. So this 23.25 into 1256.64 into 550, you will be getting 160, 692.84 minus these two terms into x, that is 29,216.88x. So we'll divide this equation complete by 150. So this becomes x square. So this comes this side, it becomes positive. After dividing by 150, you will be getting 194.78x, and this goes this side, it becomes negative, it becomes 128.56 is equals to 0. So solving above equation, again quadratic equation in your calculator, you will be getting the depth of neutral axis x is equals to 244.09 mm. So this again x new value you will be using in your next calculations. Okay, now IR you will be calculating. This becomes bx cube, same formula we are using again, bx cube by 3 plus MAST d minus x square. IR becomes b 300 x, the new x which we have calculated 244.09 cube divided by 3 plus m is 23.25 into 1256.64, d is 550 minus 244.09 the whole square. So once you work out this in your calculator, you will be getting IR as 4.18 into 10 raised to 9 mm raised to 4. So this is the new IR value. So now the lever arm, that is Z is equals to D minus X by 3. This is equals to 550 minus X 244.09 divided by 3. So Z is equals to 468.63 mm. So this is your new lever arm. Okay. Now from page number 88. So you are calculating I effective, will not denote it as dash. So it is new one, so we'll denote it as dash. So IR divided by 1.2 minus cracking moment. Now here MC dash. Under permanent loads we had calculated 50% of moment. We had got 62.5 kilonewton meter. That moment we are going to use here after 50% multiplication into Z by D 1 minus X by D BW by B. So we can substitute I effective dash equal to IR. Just now we have got 4.18 into 10 raised to 9 divided by 1.2 minus MR. So that cracking moment remains same, 56.34 into 10 raised to 6 divided by MC dash. This permanent loads under this one condition 50%, it was 62.5 into 10 raised to 6. The initial in given steps we had done this one. Then Z is 468.63, then divided by D 550, 1 minus X is 244.09 divided by D is 550 and BW by B is 1. So this is the substitution. So once you substitute, then you have to insert those values in your calculator, and you will be getting I effective dash equals to the new value 5.40 into 10 raised to 9 mm raised to 4. So now therefore I effective dash is equal to IGR. It is same as IGR. Therefore okay. The condition was less than or equal to, so it is equal to, therefore it is okay. Now you have to find out this one, the first one. Now AI plus CC permanent. Okay, so the same value again, Km MC dash L square ECE. Okay, effective, this one modulus of elasticity, then effective this moment of inertia dash which we have calculated. So Km again remains 1 by 4. So MC dash 62.5 into 10 raised to 6, L is 3500 square, Km is 1 by 4, that is 4, EC is 8600 into I effective dash is 5.4 into 10 raised to 9. So AI plus CC permanent, you will be getting 4.12 mm. Now AI permanent. Okay, so this is given as Km MC dash L square. The only change is here you have to take EC and I effective. Okay, the one which we had calculated without using that other modular ratio, the starting this modulus of elasticity of concrete and I effective which we have calculated initially. Okay, so this becomes a MC dash, same you have to keep, 62.5 into 10 raised to 6 L square, again same 3500 square, divided by this was 2 to sorry, here modular ratio, this is km value 4, 1 by 4, then EC, previous EC 22360, and I effective previous 2.29 into 10 raised to 9. So once you do this, so you will be getting AI permanent, so you will be getting 3.73 mm. Therefore ACC permanent is equals to AICC permanent, AI plus CC, okay, then minus AI permanent. So this will be getting 4.12 minus 3.73. Therefore ACC permanent is equals to 0.39 mm. Okay. Now total deflection A gamma is AI plus ACS plus ACC permanent. Okay, AI we had got 7.47. Due to shrinkage it was 1.923, and just now we have calculated this permanent with respect to this creep, it is 0.39. So total deflection you will be getting 9.783 mm. Okay, this is total deflection. Now again one clause you have to check, page number 37. I will show you. You might be knowing because most of the problems you will be solving with those requirements. Page number 37, what it says: the final deflection due to all loads including the effects of temperature, creep, shrinkage which we have measured now, it should not exceed span by 250. Okay, this we have to check. So total permissible settlement, is equals to span by 250. So span is 3500 divided by 250, you will be getting 14 mm, which is greater than 9.783, which we have got. Therefore safe in deflection. So this is how you have to calculate the total deflection with respect to initial deflection or short-term deflection, immediate deflection, whatever you call, then the deflection with respect to shrinkage, then deflection with respect to creep. Temperature we have not done because it was not given in the problem. So if it is given, then again addition you have to do and you have to solve with the following steps. So then at the final step you have to check with page number 37 this total permissible settlement, that is span by 250, and this is how you have to check for the deflection part under different conditions, that is short-term deflection and long-term deflections. Okay, so I hope you have understood this video. If you have understood this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe all about structural analysis and design. Thank you friends.